So we are a technical group, and we do presentations on business and meetings, how to interact with people, how to network, and so forth. So I want everybody to feel comfortable. So today we're going to talk about our feelings. And this is a little, stepping out for me, talking about such a topic in more of a formal setting. So I'm pushing myself out of my comfort zone a little bit, but I think that's important to do from time to time. So I met this guy. His name is Tom Cope. He's a local guy. He's a licensed therapist. He goes around to like Teen Challenge and different addiction clinics, and he counsels addicts and people trying to go through recovery. And he counsels married couples, and teenagers, and so forth. And I got the chance to meet him and learn one of his methodologies. And specifically, one of the things we're going to talk about today is this thing called the shame. Now, many years ago, I was in a play, and with my wife, and I remember this director talking about anger, right? And the thing about anger is, we're like, this guy here is screaming at his brother, and they're screaming at each other. When you lose it like this, you lose self-control. It makes you look louche, right? It hurts your credibility. And I remember this director talking about how anger is a secondary emotion. So like when somebody's losing it, what's really happening is right underneath the anger is hurt, right? And so you're dealing with this process, and it's all coming out as anger, but right underneath the anger is hurt. Now, according to this teaching from this counselor, hurt is always about a betrayal, okay? And betrayal is about a betrayal of an unmet expectation. I expected you to be loyal to me, and you weren't. I expected you to show up on Sunday at church to hear me sing. This actually happened with my wife. And, I was expecting you to show up like all the other spouses showed up, and you didn't. I had an expectation. You failed to meet that expectation, whether it was reasonable or not, and it hurt. And then right underneath the hurt is fear. Now, fear is, there's always a duality with fear. There's this sort of, in fact, Tom uses this analogy where he talks about the pretzel effect. You've got you going this way and going this way. I'm afraid to confront you, but I'm afraid not to confront you. I'm afraid to stay with you, but I'm afraid to leave you. I'm afraid you're going to leave me, but I'm afraid nothing's going to change. And this fear, it paralyzes. Then right underneath the fear, we got this thing called the revitalization, which is all about the poor me, right? Poor me, here I am again. I go to all your stuff, I go listen to you speak, and you won't even come to watch me sing, right? Here I am again, I'm working 90 hours a week, and you're never happy, right? Poor me, right? Then right underneath the revictimization is, and this is the big one, the shame. The shame that gets us. So the shame is unbearable. We just can't live with the shame, right? So you got this stack. You put it all together, and Tom calls this the shame barrel. So you have to deal with the shame barrel. Now, how do you deal with the shame barrel? Well, you express it. Now, the thing about the shame barrel is most people, we all got a shame barrel, right? And most of us keep the shame barrel. You can almost think of it as a filter. Everything that comes in, everything that goes out goes through the shame barrel. And so you got these people, they're going after each other, and each of them have their own shame barrel. Everything comes in. So when I say, you know what, I can't make it to hear you sing Sunday, I got another obligation I got to meet. Right? Well, if that's coming through somebody's shame barrel, what they're hearing is, I'm not worth it. I'm not important enough for you to come and hear me sing. But that's to express that to somebody, to say I'm ashamed because I'm just not important. We're not going to say that. You ever been seen or been around somebody? They're like, what's the matter? Something's the matter. Are you mad that I didn't come here? No, it's fine. I understand. You got an obligation. It's fine. No, okay, I get it. Right? Nobody wants to say I'm ashamed. I'm not worth coming in to hear. Nobody wants to say I'm afraid. Right? I'm afraid you're never going to come hear me sing. But blah blah blah. And so, how does it come out? It comes out as the anger. So, this Tom, he has this idea of, okay, think, feel, behave. Okay? These are the three lanes that we live our lives in. Whether you realize it or not, whether you learn anything or not, this is how we live our lives. Most of us try to stay in the think and the behave lanes. A lot of us, and I know me personally, the whole feel lane, I always had an issue with, right? Expressing how you feel. So, what's the call to action? How do you go through the shame barrel? Well, So you'd start out, maybe the wife would say, in this particular example, I'm angry with you because you didn't come and hear me sing. So I'm asking her, what's wrong? Like, this is literally how something that my wife and I have tried to do, and it's really had a huge impact on our lives. So I'm seeing her, I'm like, what's wrong? Nothing. Something's wrong. Fine. Okay, come on. You're angry with me. Come on. I'm angry with you because you didn't come and hear me sing. And I'm hurt because I expected you. Like everybody else's spouses were there, I expected you to come and see me sing, and you couldn't. And I get that you couldn't. I get that you had this other obligation, and it's totally reasonable that you could not be there. But it's still, this is how I feel. I'm hurt that you weren't there. And I'm afraid to say something because I'm being selfish. If I say something because you had to do this thing, I'm a total jerk for saying something. But I'm afraid not to say something. I'm afraid you're never going to show up to any of my stuff. And yet, poor me, I'm being a big baby. I gotta process this, right? So I go to all your stuff. You never come to any of my stuff. And then there's the shame, right? So the shame of, I'm not important enough for you to come and see me sing. So you listen to this, and one of the hardest things about this is listening to somebody's shame. Like, my wife's going through the shame, and I'm listening to her. I'm like 2 years ago, I was like, are you kidding me? Do you know how hard I'm working? And I would be slapped down, right? Nobody wants to go through the shame barrel because they're going to get slapped down. And I remember talking to this Tom saying, how do you listen to somebody's shame barrel? If somebody's going through this, how do you have the dialogue without it turning into a defensive argument? Talk about when you listen, you just listen. Personally, just listen. And it doesn't matter if they're being reasonable or they're out of line, just listen. It's all about them just speaking. Let them speak. Shut up and let them speak. And then when you're done, you say, okay, was there anything else? Yeah, there's more. I'm angry about this, and I'm hurt, and I'm afraid, and I'm blah, 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 shame. Okay, all right. Was there anything else? No, that's it. Okay, so now it's my turn to go through the shame. So I go, okay, well, I'm angry that, I'm angry that you were yelling at me that I didn't show up. Because I had this obligation, and I'm hurt because I expect you to see how hard I'm working, and you wouldn't be angry if you didn't say, hey, thanks for working so hard. And so you go through this, and when you're finished, just the fact of getting this out, getting through this whole feel, and expressing how you're feeling, it prevents those feelings getting pushed over into the behavior. Now I'm not walking around the house the rest of the day like this, and every time she asks me what's wrong, nothing's wrong, right? Because I was able to express it, get it out, and move on with my day. So, Tom Hilton, local guy, he does counseling. He's a great therapist, and like I say, he does some really good work. This was something new that I learned, and I hadn't heard anything like this presented in this manner before, and had a real impact on me and my life, my wife, and my kids. And so I wanted to share that with you folks today. Thank you.